gentleman named Frank, you might want to stop smoking in the courtroom here. Otherwise, the judge is going to come back and she won't like it either.
And 41513 are called the State of Texas versus Scott Claiborne. That was you, sir? Yes. Present with Mr. Macon, your attorney, and the state's attorney. Earlier, you pleaded guilty to, it was just one case, correct?
He pled to all three, Your Honor.
Yeah.
You did?
Yes, it's a cap of 8 on all three.
Yeah, just showing one. Okay. You pleaded guilty to each of 3 third-degree felonies of illegal possession of child. And a pre-sentence report has been prepared. Have the parties had an opportunity to review it? Any corrections or changes to it?
None from the state, Your Honor.
You know, I really don't have any changes or corrections to the pre-sentence report. However,
Hold on, then it's made a part of the record for all purposes.
okay,
And I'm going to give you a chance to have whatever time you need reasonably on this. The agreement is whatever sentence shall not exceed a cap of 8 years in prison in each of these cases. So we're looking at deferred or unadjudicated probation. We're looking at regular probation. That is allowed in this case. And also we could have an assignment of imprisonment without deferred or regular probation. So those are 3 options, I think. I think those are the only 3. All right. So go ahead, Mr.
Your Honor, I would draw your attention, I believe the court should have a copy of this letter from Dr. Asteris of UPath Therapy and Wellness, where Mr. Claiborne has been counseling with him since March of 2022 and continues to see him bi-weekly for therapy sessions. I believe his letter goes a little more detailed than what the pre-sentence report did. He understands his problem. He doesn't really know why, but he's sure moving forward to get an understanding. Mr. Claiborne.
Oh, okay. Not.
You know, he's scored low on all the risk levels in the pre-sentence report, and naturally would comply with any and all conditions of probation should he get touched.
I don't have to copy that right.
That's why I brought extra copies. You have a copy?
I do.
I sometimes think that we electronically file it and it just goes out there to somewhere in Greenland or somewhere.
All right, I have what's before me is a letter written by Mark Asteris, who I believe I know.
Yes, he
And
was with our probation department for many years.
and is signing this letter as a psychotherapist, a doctorate in education, and then LPC and LSOTP is something I'm just not familiar with. Licensed
Professional
psychotherapist, counselor, or I don't know what that means. And then LSOTP-S is another one that
I don't know.
starts off with Doctor of Education, but he's not a psychiatrist.
He's not a
And he says
psychiatrist.
not a psychologist.
No. I think his practice is limited to sexual assaults and the people involved therein.
All right. Go ahead. Anything else from you?
No, Your Honor, Mr. Claiborne is employed, continuing with his counseling, and asks for the deferred adjudication.
Stay.
What the state would like to bring to the court's attention is that not only did Mr. Claiborne have child porn images, he was sharing images of his great niece on these sites and saying things that he would like to do to her and referring to her as his daughter.
I don't have that information.
Neither do I.
It is,
Share that with me.
yes, Your Honor, I
Share that
can.
with- you have anything to say about that? Did you do that or not?
Yes, sir.
Your great niece?
Yes.
I'm wondering where that can, I've got this in the pre-sentence report and I didn't see any connections. Here, it isn't direct in this pre-sentence report, but
I was kind of surprised the pre-sentence report didn't have more from Dr. Steris on the counseling he's been doing with Mr. Claiborne. If the court would like, I could subpoena his entire file for the court's. Yeah.
I'm not asking for it. Whatever you want, but if you want to supplement that, I certainly give you a fair opportunity to do that.
Then I would ask for some time to supplement that and get it to you. Because I think there's serious questions raised here that I think Mr. Claiborne has addressed in the outside counseling.
Let me just say this. When this pre-sentence interview occurred,
Yes, sir.
they talked to you.
Yes.
And when asked how you felt about the victims of your crime, your reply was, quotes, "I never did anything to anybody." That was your statement.
I did, sir. I mean, I didn't mean for it to sound the way I guess it sounded.
Well, it was just the 6 words you used. How else am I going to? It's a pretty flat statement. It doesn't have any traditional explanation to it, but it's 6 words. I know what those words mean. I can put them together, and they say what they say. Can you explain that?
I just wanted her to know that I never actually physically did anything to anyone, and I'm not trying to.
You missed it completely. You're missing the point completely. What do you think child is all about? What do you think the harm is? Why do we call it a felony? Why is there such a high standard for this crime, for its punishment? Because the child is abused each time it is displayed to someone. And when it's in the internet, it's hard to ever come out. So when people take a photo and distribute it, and if it ultimately gets into the internet, it's there forever. It is. So the child goes through their life continuing to be abused. Each time people in a perverted way enjoy using those, then the child is damaged. Each time the person, it's distributed to others. The child is injured. And there's no way to get it back. There's no way you can pull it all back. But when you say, I never did anything to anybody, the moment you looked at that pornography and downloaded it, and then whatever you did with it, if you shared it with anybody or anything, yeah, you harmed the child. Those are all separate instances of harm. Do you have any children? Really? You have children? You don't think of your children when you were doing this? Someone just like you, get a hold of them somehow, take pictures and throw them in the internet? How would that make you feel? How would that make you feel?
Discuss with.
Well, why didn't you have the same empathy for not only these downloads, but a relative of yours? Are you kidding? That defies logic to me. You want to come up here and express regret, but you harmed one of your relatives. Yeah, and it's a good point here that was raised here. It seems in the statement under recommendations, it seems the defendant does not understand the severity of his offense or recognizes the children as victims. I think that's succinct. That's the way I read it as well. That's as I read this as well. But I've done this long enough to know people who do this, they think everybody else is odd. They don't think their behavior is wrong because they get a sense of enjoyment, which is antisocial. It is against the normative. Nobody wants to hurt a child. Nobody should ever hurt a child, but everybody clearly knows that child is harming a child. Everybody clearly knows that. And anybody who's surreptitious like you do privately seeks it out, finds it, downloads it, or uses your niece's likeness. You're doing it to enjoy. You're not doing it to hurt yourself from your line of thinking. You're doing it for the excitement and the enjoyment of it, which is perverted. Has strict standards of punishment. And there's not a doubt that normative behavior is not to harm a child. Normative behavior is certainly not to use a child as a sex toy. Point that out.
So
But you did.
I regret it every day.
You should have regretted it when you did it.
Yes, sir.
I mean, it didn't seem to bother you then, sir. Or you would have said, I'm not going to touch that hot stove. How much time do you want?
2 weeks, John.
You got it. Here we go.